Hi knitters, welcome to PJ Knits, a knitting podcast. Thank you for stopping by. My name is Penny and I live in Central Illinois, and I'm a knitter, a blogger, and a YouTube podcaster. I am PJ Knits on Instagram. We have a Ravelry group that is PJ Knits. I have a blog that is www.pjknits.blogspot.com, where I post about knitting and life and all kinds of things. And I guess that's probably it. Oh, Penny J on Ravelry as well. Different from the PJ Knits group because I couldn't get PJ Knits. It was already taken. So welcome to episode 57. I am from Central Illinois. Did I say that already? If not, I say it again because this is like take two because I couldn't find something that I wanted to tell you about. But anyway, welcome. It is Friday, April 23rd, and it's about 45 degrees in Central Illinois. And if I look forward in the weather forecast for next week, it's going to be summer. So it's a good thing that we're knitting transitional sweaters in our KAL for the top of this 2021 KAL. Because I think we're going to need them because I think the weather is going to go back and forth, and it's nice to have a good transitional sweater in your wardrobe going forward. And here in Central Illinois, it can easily be cool at the end of May, or it can be terribly hot. So anyway, our KAL for this particular period of the top this 2021 KAL is transitional sweaters, and it ends at the end of the month. We will be finished with it with May 1st, but please, if you are not done with your transitional sweater, keep on knitting because like I said, you can probably wear it at some point in time, and when we get to be able to be in air conditioning again, you might need it for the air conditioning. And if nothing else, you'll have it ready for fall. So keep on knitting those transitional sweaters and post about them in the Ravelry group PJ Knits because we'd love to see what you've been knitting on. I love to get new ideas for sweaters and yarn and all kinds of things. So please post there in the group on transitional sweaters. So I'm going to share a couple of my finished transitional sweaters. I had talked about on the last podcast about maybe doing one more, and I decided at this point in time, and I'll talk about some knits that I'm doing on in a little bit, that it was time to be done with trying to cast on a new sweater for the transitional period. So I'm just going to share my finished objects with you today that are my sweaters. And the nice thing about these is done before the season ends, and that's our whole goal for a top this 2021 KAL, is to have a sweater before the season ends so that you can be wearing it rather than knitting it in the season. My first finished object is Super Simple Summer Sweater by Hohi. And this is my second time that I've knit one of these, and I rarely knit a sweater more than once. But I think I might even knit this one a third time because I have an idea of what I wouldn't mind doing out of it again. And the nice thing about it is, depending on the colors and the yarns that you use, it can easily be different and no one will know it's the same sweater but you. I knit one for winter out of Briar Rose 4th of July, and I've shown that before on the podcast. And I have worn the death out of it this winter because it's been a great sweater just to throw on over a t-shirt to keep warm in the house, or if I'm outside going for a little walk when I can. So I loved it, and I did it all out of one color that was all kind of like a variegated, of course, a tonal, really more of a tonal, and I just loved it, and I really wore it. So I decided to knit this one actually before my winter sweater. I saw this on a Instagram post by a person, and she had knitted, and it was very cute on her. And I thought that would be perfect for summer, for 4th of July, etc. When I bought the yarn, which I got from Espace Tricot, I realized that it was going to be too heavy and too warm for our Illinois summers. So I waited until the first of the year and then cast on. I am loving this particular sweater, and I kind of talked about it when I was knitting on it. I wasn't too sure about the yarn because the yarn seemed to be a little heavy, but now that I've blocked it and I've worn it a couple of times, I just love it. It's a great yarn, and I will tell you what it is. It is the Rosa Pomar Mungo, and the colorways that I used is Manja, which is the red, and then a cream in the kind of the cream, and I really super like this. Now, as all sweaters that I knit for myself, I've made modifications, and if you go to my project page under Penny J, I've given a play-by-play of what I've done with the modifications, far as when I changed the needles, and I have decided to make it 3/4 length sleeves. I actually knit this sleeve like 3 times, because I knit one at 3/4, I knit the other one full, and it ended with the red. And I just, for my particular body type, when I stop, the thickest part of me is here. So I wanted this to not continue on so that you were coming down and looking at the hip with extra red. So I tried it both ways, put it on my mirror, and then decided that I liked this best, the 3/4 sleeve, which I really do like anyway for a sweater for me, because then you're not pushing them up when you're washing hands and all of that. So I also lengthened it a little bit, and then did not make as long a rib. But again, all of those modifications are on my Ravelry project page under Penny J. So it's a great sweater, and like I said, this is super simple summer sweater, and I think I might make this again out of some more colors. Once you perfected it, a pattern, like I said, knit it again. My next finished object is the V-back tee, and my friend Annetta and I have been knitting this one together on this particular one by Jamie Hoffman. And this one I did out of 3 Irish Girls yarn, Arroya, the Adorn sock, and again, the modifications to this is on my Ravelry project page, and this is a fingering weight yarn. The V-back can be worn with the V, or you can also wear it with the scoop. And I thought all along that I would be knitting it and wearing it as the scoop. And surprisingly enough, when I finished it, and there are pictures on my project page and on Instagram, surprisingly enough, I decided that I think the V-neck looked better than me as well. When I knit this, again, I made some modifications. It's done with German short rows, which I'm sorry, but everybody likes them, but I like the wrap and turn better. But I motored on and did the German short rows on it. But when I knit this with the yarn, I did not do any helical knitting. I just let the yarn do its thing. I also, instead of, as you can see, she's got the a cap sleeve. I made mine about 2 inches longer as well, because I wanted it to come down over the hip before I did the rib. And this was another one I started like last year and then put it aside. So here you can see the 2 different ways to wear it. As again, I made it about 2 inches longer so that on me that it would come a little bit longer. And that's the V-back tee. And I also, on this one, made it 3/4 sleeves, because that's what I kind of like for my transitional sweaters. And it hits just the right length for me, again, when my arms are down. So again, I think this is one that I will be wearing, and you can see how the yarn just did its thing. And I let it, because I did not want to do the helical knitting on it. So that's the V-back tee. That's my transitional sweater, another one. So I've got 2 more for my wardrobe, and I plan on wearing this one with, this particular one I think will go wonderful with white pants for summer too. Easily, I think you can wear a sweater like this for the summer. And that is the V-back tee. Okay, so what's next? Next is some summer sweaters, and I am already starting on my summer sweaters. where the actual period can start right now if you want to start knitting on summer sweaters and posting them in the group. But for me, the Summer of Sweaters, the official kickoff is May 1st, and we will be knitting summer sweaters until the 15th of August, because that way we can start up for transitional fall and have sweaters ready for the fall. So right now I have one in progress, and what I did is I pulled this out of a whip from last year, and that's why I'm knitting on it right now. And this is Sugar Maple. And my local yarn shop had knit this, and she had knitted out of this yarn, concentric cotton. And so last year I bought a couple, and you can see what it does. Isn't that cool? And so this particular one, you can do gradients if you want, or you can buy ones that are already have a gradient to them. And so I started this last year, and I picked it back and I put it away because it was almost fall, and I'm like, you're not going to have this done, right? So that's the whole intent. And part of my intent for 2021 is to get these sweaters done before the season, and that's why I am knitting on this one. This is Sugar Maple, and you can see how it is going. So far, I am making no modifications to it, and I'm up to the gray, and I think the next will be the white. And this is one of those that we're just going to see what happens. So this is Sugar Maple, and that is the start of my summer sweaters. And it's a cotton yarn, which is perfect for summer, right? And I'm enjoying that knit. So now that my transitionals are done and I'm into the next stage, I'm loving that. I wanted to just shout out a couple of patterns that I'm thinking about knitting for summer. And this first one is the Summer Sorrel. This was hot in a winter type one, and then in summer last year, and I didn't get it going, but I did buy the pattern. This one is from Wool and Pine and is done out of fingering weight. And I'm looking for just the right speckled yarn to knit this out of. And again, I'm going to make it probably just above the elbow. So that's one of my intentions. I'm looking forward to that particular one. You could also, I've seen people have done this in fades. So I have some, stay tuned. I have some yarns upstairs on my bed that might work for that as a fade. And again, I will make it longer sleeves, and I will again probably put a good 4 inches on there. So, but anyway, I'm just loving that. And all of a sudden it just hit me that when I saw the fades in there again, that might be something that I could definitely do. So this is the Summer Sorrel. I'm calling it Summer Sorrel. I don't know how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm calling it. So that has potential for casting on. And then one that's been in my library for some time. This is Janice Ficker Designs Perfect Summer Tee. And this one is perfect for fingering weight as well, and easily could be done out of the concentric cotton, I think, because that's a fingering weight, and all body types. So I'm looking at that and thinking a concentric cotton, even though I'm doing one now, or even a fade, or if you have a fingering weight yarn in your stash. And this one here, I like this one close. I'm looking at it, and or just in a simple cotton with something fun. And it has a little pocket. You can either put the pocket on there or not. I'll probably leave the pocket off. But I just kind of like that one too. So those are two that I am readily looking at right now for my next sweater in Perfect Summer Tee and Summer Sorrel for a summer sweater. So those are a couple of things. And again, officially we'll start the KAL on 5/1, but feel free to go out and start knitting your summer sweaters, because everybody has a different kind of summer. And we love to, again, post them in the group. Tell us what you're knitting on, what you're going to be knitting on. Love to get some new ideas, because it's fun to check it all out. So one of the other sneak peeks that I just want to talk about is we will also be doing this summer, starting on June 20th, going through September 22nd, we will be doing another version of Summer of Shawls. And this summer, it's going to be whatever you want to knit as your summer shawl. We'll talk more about it in the next month or so. For me, I love knitting on shawls in summer because they're easy to take along, to knit on, and you can throw them over you. There's all kinds of possibilities for summer shawls. What I am going to concentrate on is a couple of shawls, larger shawls to get knitted and done, but I'm also got a couple that are whips, and I'm hoping to get my whip shawl done this summer. So again, we'll talk about that more this as summer approaches and where I'm going with that. So the summer will have a couple of KALs going, top this 2021, and the summer of shawls. So next up, knitting for babes. If you don't know this, I'm going to have another grandson in July, and so I am knitting for that baby. And I cannot post on social media because my daughter-in-law follows me. But anyway, I wanted to share some things with you. And what I'm doing this this time for this baby, this first baby on that side, is kind of like some theme knits going with some things that she likes. And the first one is elephants. And she told me, you know, that people thought she really liked llamas, but what she really likes was elephants. And so that spurred me on to a themed elephant gift for the first one. And there's a baby book out there that has a little elephant on it. Part of the ensemble, I bought a hooded bath towel that's an elephant. And then I decided, I have knit this pattern before, and special babies, meaning grandchildren, get a special motif kind of blanket. And so this particular one is the Easy Baby Blanket by Sproglet. I've knit it for some other babies, and it has these elephants going across. And I love this one because it's so conducive. This particular pattern is so easy to knit. There's no graphs. It's row by row, but it's easily knit on by looking at the written word. And so I really do enjoy doing this one. The nice thing about this as well is that you can do like one elephant. You can do, you know, as many elephants as you want. The original pattern, she has you doing 2 elephants and then 3 wide. And my particular one, I did 3 elephants and 5. Okay, and here's mine. And so they go all the way across. And it's going to be a nice little blanket to go with the theme of elephants. I knit this one out of Uptown Worsted because in the past I've been doing my baby blankets out of Cascade Pacific. And one that I did for my last grandson, I noticed when we were over there a year or 2 ago that it had really pilled. And so for this one going forward for the baby blankets, because I know they're going to be washed and carried around a lot, I decided to go with the universal yarn. And because it's an anti-pilling yarn, at least that's what it says. So I bought, and this particular one took me for 3 across 5 up, took me 4 skeins, and I did it in color 322 silver gray. I just think those are going to be so cute. Upside down there. Marching along, little elephants. So like I said, the pattern is easily adapted, and this is the Easy Baby Elephant Blanket. It's a paid-for pattern, but like I said, even told some friends, you know, you could even just do 1 elephant in the middle of a gray blanket if that's all you wanted to do, and then do knit and garter stitch. So anyway, that is the blanket. I've got a couple other things that I am working on, and I will show them the next time because one is not quite finished. So anyway, next up, I just want to touch a little bit on a project that I am working on between now and probably next summer. I go every year to Meg Swanson's knitting camp, and I've been going for probably 10 years at least. And the last couple of years, we've not been able to go. Last year, we could not because of COVID, and this year, we're not going as well. And so I decided, I have been a participant a lot and really a voyeur to most of the camps. And I have knit some of Easy and Meg's sweaters and things. But I decided in the next year, it would be fun to, and I have a lot of books in my in my library. And so I decided to pull out a book and start from the beginning and work my way through the book between now and next summer, just as a little exercise in fun and really delving into Elizabeth Zimmerman. And so what I decided to do is I decided to work my way through Knitting Workshop, reading her book, and actually putting some of the things and knitting some of the things in the book while I kind of learn from things. Now, the really nifty thing is, this is how much I'm enamored with this woman, that if you don't know about Elizabeth Zimmerman, you need to go out and check it out. She is the beginning. She is who got me back into knitting when my children were just babies, because their PBS here locally was showing one of her programs. And I'm like, who is this lady? And delved into getting one of her first books that went with the actual program, which was Knitting Around. And I was just amazed. And then found out a few years later that she had a knitting camp, and went my very first one in '96 by myself. And from there on out, I couldn't go every year until I met up with some local friends, my friends Shar and Linda. And they were also enamored with her. And we started going to knitting camps together and forged a relationship, and so much fun. And I enjoyed my time with them. Shar has since passed away. I've talked about that before. So Linda and I are roomies now. And we're just all about easy. She had it. So anyway, I decided earlier this year that it was time to work my way through some of her books and really just go into it. So what I'm doing is something that I'm calling, personally for me, a la Julie and Julia, or Julia and Julie, Easy and PJ. And I'm delving into her work of art and knitting just for fun, just for me. And so I am working my way through her Knitting Workshop book. This is one of the early editions that I have, and they have since updated it with little blips at the side from, I think, probably Meg and Coley. And so I'm working my way through it. And I also, back in the day, and they still have these available via, I think, DVD on the Schoolhouse Press website, or as a download. And so I am using her DVD as well in my quest. And so they're so much fun to listen to. And I've had this one for quite some time. Not my first time that I've looked at it and watched it, because it's just, when you need something soothing, Elizabeth does it for me. And it's so neat, the things that she embarks on and she talks about. It's just fun, and you just wish that you would have known her. So anyway, I started just, probably February-ish, and got started early on, and I did this. This is the funny part of this is my little swatch. And this particular swatch, what I wanted to do is I thought I wanted to try continental knitting, because I am a thrower. And so this is my little swatch that I did in continental. And I can tell you, I don't like it. So I'm not going to do it. So that's my little swatch. That's my little mode in the very beginning. I did a little swatch to try and do continental. And I've always had a hard time deciding, when somebody says, are you continental or English or continental or whatever, and whatever the other one is I do is throw. And I can never figure out, is continental what I do or not? And then I figured in my mind, the way to remember continental is, if you knit continentally, you pick, which means you are picking a continent. And so here it is. I did not like purling continentally, and I really don't care to do it in knitting either. So I'm throwing that aside. I can do it, but I don't like it. So And then the next the next-ish thing she has you doing after playing around is doing a swatch cap in color work. And this is kind of like twofold because you're doing some color work, you're doing some decreasing. And the thing I love about EZ is she says, when you're done, you're ready to do a sweater. That's the next thing. And I like that. It's like, wow, leave the scarves, leave the hats, and move on to sweaters. And so I did a little color work. I prefer, and I did try and do Continental on some of it here and there. And again, it's not what I'm loving. And so when I do color work, I really am going to, and it's slow, but I knit a strand, knit the other strand. So it's all with my right hand. And for now, that's what I'm liking. I know I tried doing it with two. Meg does it with her on her left. And she does it with where she has a yarn over this and a yarn over that. And just a flick of the fingers, she can do it. I tried kind of doing that with my right hand as well. And it works, but then all of a sudden the yarn on this one gets loose and it just doesn't work. So I'm going back to my old way of doing it, and I'm okay with that. And I love this. And if I were to do it again, it's not been blocked yet. I would, the new version talks about how making, after a certain point, you make these decreases a little bit quicker. So anyway, this is my swatch cap. And the reason for the swatch cap, EZ says, is that you make a cap and then you have the gauge for your sweater. And this is Barocco. And so I have an idea down the road for a sweater that I want to knit out of Barocco, out of one of the books. So I have my gauge there, I'll block it, and then I'll know exactly what my gauge is. Now, I will also say, and I'm going to point this out, is that I knit it just as EZ would have knit it before the jogless stripe. And I did not, you can see, as a matter of, I think, for, your learning repertoire, as it would be, that now you know that this has to be dealt with. So what I'm going to do is the yarn that I want to knit my next sweater out of, I'm going to knit another swatch cap, and I'm going to employ some jogless techniques in there. But I really wanted to have this as a sample of what it looks like if you don't employ any kind of jogless techniques. Because really, as many others have said, when you're doing a in the round, it really isn't a matchup. It's more of a spiral. So watch out for updates of that, and there will be more to come on the EZ and PJ project. Okay, books and bags. I want to talk real quickly about a couple of books that I have in my library. And the thing that I'm going to show you a finished object as well, but this one I've talked about before. This is called 60 Quick Baby Blankets. And not only does it have some great baby blankets in it, but one of the blankets that I just finished for hospice, I did a version of the catty corner blanket. And as many have know that I have talked about on here as well before, a favorite blanket that I like to knit for hospice is Heavenly Heathers. I also knit a lot of these for babies that I don't know, because you can do, if you know it's going to be a boy or different colors, you can incorporate that into the blanket. And it goes fairly quick because you're holding two yarns together. And so I love that. But I love this for baby blankets. But most of all right now, I love that these blankets, several of them for hospice. And then the second one that I picked up is 60 more quick baby blankets. And again, there's some nice ones in here for babies. Easily, if you need to do that. Sorry about that. But it also has some great thoughts if you wanted to do something for hospice, incorporate red, white, and blue in that. There's some cute ones in here for babies, some snuggly things. Again, another great one that you could do for a baby or for hospice. I just really enjoy these books so much for hospice and for babies. And again, here's this a rainbow layer, easily adapted to a baby or to a hospice if you have leftovers. Really some great books, and I really like these for both. Again, very easily adaptable for hospice blankets. And so here's a couple, and just one more I'll show you that'd be great for hospice, because right now we've not been able to meet at our hospice, at the hospice home since last February, but we are going to start back up at a local church where we can socially distance and in May. And so we'll be meeting there a couple of times a month. It'll be so much fun to get back at that and see the ladies. But the call went out for our local hospice group a week or so ago that they were in very much need of red, white, and blue blankets. So I sent out the call, and many of the ladies in our group are knitting red, white, and blue. And so I have got one for myself. This that is done, just finished it last night. This one is out of Cascade Pacific. And this is that catty-cornered blanket. And it starts just like the dishcloth and then goes on. And then I've added the red, white, and blue stripes. So I have another one I'm going to cast on later today, the Heavenly Heathers in red, white, and blue, my leftovers. And so I just wanted to share those books and this particular pattern with you. It's good for a baby, but it's also good for hospice. And I hope that there are others out there who have hospice homes, and you would think about doing hospice blankets for your local hospice home. These red, white, and blue ones go to vets, and they have a very special ceremony that they do with the patient when they are given a blanket. And every patient in the hospice home is given a blanket. It has a little tag that gives a little prayer for them, and we put our name on it, and so they know that who's knit it. So during these times, I hope that if you have a local hospice home, you will consider starting a program with your friendly knitters. So anyway, and then in bags, I wanted to show you a bag that I bought last month from Black Mountain Shop. The actual bag is an Oh Wow Amsterdam bag. And this is my bag is holding right now my habitation throw that I'm doing out of my scraps and others of blues. And it's holding that shawl right now. And I love this. It's got some pockets on the inside that they've just serged. And this particular one is, I love the color. I had to have it with a drawstring. And this one is my porch knitting project. So when we go out on the porch to knit at night or early morning, this comes with me. We put out our rocking chairs and a nice big rug, and I just throw this down on the rug, and then I am knitting on it. So I just love the colors, had to have this. And again, it's Oh Wow Amsterdam, and I bought mine again from the Black Mountain Yarn Shop. But you can buy it from Stephen Penelope, I think, has it, and then also other shops or directly from them. So there you go. Mail call. You know what? I haven't much to call. I haven't much mail. But in keeping with the easy, one of the publications that I get twice a year from Schoolhouse Press is Meg's Now Wool Gathering. And this issue just came out in March. It comes out in March and September. So I'm looking totally forward to maybe knitting that next fall. Love that one. And they did a version of Cully with the Bernie mittens that she put in there. I thought that was super fun. And so I just love getting these wool gatherings twice a year from Schoolhouse Press. And I love the paper aspect of it as well. I just like, there's something about, I like holding mitts in my hand, and I like holding mitts, yeah. No. holding paper patterns, holding books, hard copy books in my hand. I'm sorry, that's what I like. I like to read a hard copy book, and I like paper and pencil. So that's been a conversation that some have had recently as well. So anyway, that's the mail call. And also I wanted to show you a new pom-pom that a friend of mine clued me into, and I had to go out and buy one. Isn't this cool for a hat for next winter? What do you think? I love that. And what I love about it is they put a little button on it along with the tag, and it says, you know, remove. Okay. Love this one. This particular one is from Bee Knits. Bee Knits Handmade on is her Instagram. And I had to have this. So there you go. As some would say, here's your show notes. I'm not doing show notes anymore because it became a little time consuming to do them, and I wasn't sure that they were helping, and I wasn't sure where to put them in the Ravelry group. I was putting them on the blog. Should I put them down below? And so I just decided, grab a paper and pencil to start. Sorry, I should have told you that. But anyway, there's the little pom-pom mail call that I got. I thought that was super, super cool and fun. So again, that is from Bee Knits Handmade. Super, super fun. And I like that we've got some strings on it to attach and unattach. And so it's going to be for me. I've got a couple of pom-poms for hats. So I'm going to be sporting some hats next winter because I'm going to be walking as long as I can. So anyway, that is the mail call. And that's all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. I hope that you got something out of this, and we'll come back. Tell your friends. Please subscribe, comment, like the video, and let's knit some sweaters, guys. Let's be ready for the season before it gets here. I hope that you are all safe and well. I've had my vaccinations, and very soon we will be heading over to see my grandkids. Haven't seen them in over a year, and so I am so looking forward to that. So in the meantime, I will see you next time. Knit on with confidence and hope through all crisis. We'll get through this, guys. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.